Hey everybody, it's Joe and welcome to another video. Today we're going to be making Italian style bison meatballs with marinara. This is a really simple recipe I think you're really going to like, so without further ado, let's get into this. A tiny bit goes a long way to get everything combined really well in here. Okay, once you got those rolled up, it's time to get them in the oven. Marinara sauce is very easy to make. The thing is, it's going to take a little bit of time, so we're going to go ahead and get that started first. So you're going to want to heat up a medium-sized saucepan, and in the pan we're going to put our olive oil, and we're going to let that heat up just a little bit. Once you start to see some ripples in the oil, you're going to want to go ahead and add in your minced garlic and your minced onion. You're not going to want to cook that through, you're not going to want to brown it, you're just going to want to soften it up a little bit. And as soon as you've done that, we're going to add in our diced tomatoes. You're going to want to bring that heat all the way up, and then you're going to want to reduce it to a simmer. One of the things about this sauce is when you mince up your garlic and your onions, make sure you mince them as fine as you possibly can. We don't want big chunks of garlic and onion in this, we want them to be small enough to kind of melt into the sauce for the most part. Okay, once your sauce starts bubbling here, you go ahead and reduce the heat down to a simmer, and we can go ahead and add in all of our herbs. What I've put in there is just a combination of salt, oregano, pepper, and a tiny bit of red chili flake. On the chili flake, that's just a tiny pinch there. You got to remember that with something like that, tiny bit goes a long way. Now all we got to do is let this simmer for about 30 minutes or so and give it a chance to thicken up really nice. In the meantime, we can go ahead and make our meatballs. The first step for the meatballs will be to go ahead and preheat your oven to 400 degrees. So we have our bison meat here already.
Of course!
We're just going to add in a little bit of egg. And keep in mind that all the ingredients for this recipe are down in the description area of the video, along with all the measurements, the calorie count, the protein, carbs, fat, everything you need to know about this recipe is down there already. So you're going to want to mix that egg right in here. And we're going to add in our Parmesan cheese. Mix that around really good. Our breadcrumbs. And then we go ahead and throw in our herbs. Now as far as herbs, what I've put in here is a little bit of granulated garlic, parsley, basil, oregano. Obviously we got the Parmesan cheese in there already. A little bit of salt and pepper, and a little bit of dry onion. We don't want it to be dry, we just want to make it right in the middle. A little bit doughy, but we don't want it to feel runny or anything like that. Just make sure you mix it around quite a bit to get everything combined really well in here. Once we got that done, it's time to make our meatballs. So we just move this out of the way, bring over a sheet pan lined with some aluminum foil. Be sure to spray that with non-stick spray. And then you're just going to take a little bit of meat at a time, roll those up in the meatballs. You want to try to get them all the same size. And you'll squeeze them just a little bit because you want to make sure these will stick together properly. And just kind of roll them around really lightly in your hand there to get them nice and round. Because remember, if you got bigger ones and smaller ones mixed together in there, they're going to cook at different speeds. And you'd like them all to be done about the same time. Okay, once you got those rolled up, it's time to get them in the oven. By the way, if this is your first time here and you want to learn some cool new recipes, get some great cooking tips and tricks, and all sorts of other kitchen related things, then start now by subscribing to the channel and clicking the notification bell so you never miss a thing. Once you have those in, be sure to keep an eye on them. When they're about halfway done, you're going to want to kind of roll them around a little bit so they don't burn on one side.
A few moments later.
Okay, it's been about 13 minutes or so. Let's check on these things. And it looks like they are about ready to flip. Remember, you want to give them enough time to cook, but you don't want to give them so much time that you're going to end up burning on one side or anything like that. Probably could have gone a little bit less time on this, maybe about 12 minutes or so. You're going to have to kind of play it by ear based upon your own particular oven. And be sure to keep an eye on that sauce you have on the stove. As it cooks a little bit more, you're going to want to crush some of the tomatoes that are in there a little bit, just to smooth it out.
Eventually.
All right, let's go ahead and check these again. And it looks like they're just about ready. So we'll go ahead and pull them out. Just for frame of reference, it's been about 25 minutes or so on my oven. And like I said before, your time may vary depending on your particular setup. Checking back on the sauce, this is just about the consistency that you want this to be. You can leave it just like this, which is the way I like it, or you can crush some of these tomatoes down a little bit as well, if you'd like this to be a little bit smoother. Also, as you can see with these meatballs, that's cooked perfect. That's just the way you want this to look. Cooked all the way through, but not overcooked. You want it to be nice and moist. Before I plate up, I like to take my meatballs and let them soak a little bit of the sauce up, just for a little bit. Just to give them a little bit of time to take in some of that flavor before you put them on the plate. Let's let that set aside for a minute, and we'll get some basil prepped. If you don't know how to chiffonade, I'm just going to show you that right now. Just want to basically pile all your basil leaves up together, and then just kind of roll them like this, and then you just kind of slice it through like that. Be sure not to cut your hands though. And there you go.
Nothing further, Your Honor.
That's a great recipe, and the entire thing, including making the sauce from scratch, only took about an hour or so. The total cooking time on the sauce is about 40 minutes, and the total baking time on the meatballs is about 25 minutes or so in my oven. Your cooking time in the oven will vary a little bit depending on what you're using, but you should be perfectly fine as long as you keep an eye on it. Just make sure when you make those meatballs that you keep them all about the same size. If you try this meatball recipe, I'd love to hear about it down in the comments below. Or if you have any challenges or questions about the recipe, just let me know down there as well, and I'll respond to you as soon as possible. If you'd like to learn a little bit more about Joe's Phenomenal, you can check out a couple more of our videos, or you can check us out online at joesphenomenal.com. I thank you so much for hanging out until the end of the video, and hope to see you back here again really soon. Once again, my name is Joe, and I hope you have a phenomenal day. Take it easy.